Before we begin our journey tonight, a brief note. This episode of Sleepy Psychology is brought to you by the Sachs Center, a leading telehealth clinic specializing in the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The Sachs Center proudly serves all 50 states, bringing expert care directly to you wherever you are. To learn more about their comprehensive services and how they can help, please visit sachscenter.com. Welcome, weary traveler, to a space where the edges of your day can soften and the gentle current of understanding can carry you towards rest. Tonight, we journey into the heart of human nature, exploring a fascinating chapter in psychology that helps us understand how groups form, how conflicts arise, and most importantly, how bridges can be built where walls once stood. Our destination is a place called Robbers Cave. Imagine, if you will, a summer camp nestled in the tranquil beauty of Oklahoma, sometime in the mid-1950s. The air is warm, the cicadas hum a lullaby, and the scent of pine needles drifts on the breeze. This wasn't just any summer camp though. It was the setting for a groundbreaking study known as the Robbers Cave experiment, a meticulously designed social psychology experiment conducted by Muzafer Sharif and his colleagues. Their aim was to observe and understand intergroup conflict and cooperation, to see how readily prejudices could form, and how they might be overcome. The participants in this unique summer experience were 22 11-year-old boys, all carefully selected to be healthy, well-adjusted, and from similar backgrounds, all white, middle-class, and with no prior knowledge of each other. This careful selection was crucial, as it helped to minimize pre-existing biases or factors that might influence the results. The boys arrived at the camp in two separate groups, each unaware of the other's existence. Let's gently follow the first group, the Eagles, as they settled into their cabin. They spent their initial days engaging in typical camp activities, swimming in the cool lake, hiking through the shaded woods, playing spirited games of baseball, and gathering around crackling campfires under the starlit sky. These shared experiences, the laughter, the small triumphs, the collaborative efforts in setting up their campsite, began to knit them together. They formed a sense of camaraderie, and us, that felt natural and comforting. They gave themselves a name, the Eagles, and developed a group identity, complete with a unique flag and a shared sense of purpose. Meanwhile, a few miles away, the second group, the Rattlers, were undergoing a remarkably similar process. They too were bonding over shared activities, forming friendships, and developing their own distinct group identity. They crafted their own flag, chose their own name, and established their own norms and inside jokes. Each group, in its isolated bubble, grew strong and cohesive, filled with positive feelings towards their own members. This initial phase, where group identity and cohesion were fostered, was a crucial first step in Sharif's design. It established the baseline, the foundation of us before the introduction of them. Now, imagine the moment when the two groups were finally introduced. It wasn't a gentle meeting. The researchers, in their careful orchestrations, began to introduce competitive situations. A tournament was announced, pitting the Eagles against the Rattlers in a series of games: tug-of-war, baseball, touch football. Prizes were promised to the winning team, creating a clear incentive for victory. As these competitions unfolded, a remarkable and, at times, unsettling transformation began to occur. The initial playful rivalry quickly escalated into open hostility. Cheers for their own team transformed into jeers for the opposing one. Taunts and insults were hurled across the playing field. What started as competitive spirits soon morphed into something more potent: prejudice and discrimination. The boys, who had previously been quite affable, began to describe the other group in negative terms. The Rattlers became cheaters to the Eagles, and the Eagles were crybabies to the Rattlers. Small acts of aggression, like stealing the other group's flag or raiding their cabin, became common occurrences. Food fights erupted in the mess hall. Friendships formed in the initial phase quickly dissolved if they involved someone from the other's side. Sharif and his team observed this escalation with keen interest. They noted how quickly in-group favoritism developed alongside out-group derogation. The boys weren't inherently malicious, But the competitive structure, the clear win-lose scenarios, had created an environment where animosity flourished. This phase of the experiment powerfully demonstrated how easily intergroup conflict could arise when groups are placed in direct competition for limited resources or status. It highlighted the psychological processes at play, the us versus them mentality, the cognitive biases that lead us to see our own group as superior and the other group as inferior, and the tendency to attribute negative traits to the outgroup while excusing similar behaviors in our own. The brilliance of the Robbers Cave experiment, however, wasn't just in showing how conflict begins, but in exploring how it might be resolved. Having created a state of intense animosity, Sharif then embarked on the crucial third phase, conflict reduction. His initial attempts, simply bringing the groups together for pleasant social interactions, like watching a movie or having a meal, proved largely ineffective. The ingrained prejudice was too strong. These opportunities for interaction often devolved into further arguments and insults. It became clear that mere contact was not enough. This realization led Sharif to a pivotal idea, the introduction of superordinate goals. These were goals that were so important and appealing to both groups that they required the cooperation of both groups to achieve them. Neither group could accomplish the task alone. Imagine, for instance, a situation where the camp's water supply suddenly failed. Or perhaps the truck bringing their food broke down far from camp. These were not contrived competitions, but genuine problems that affected everyone. Let's visualize the first superordinate goal Sharif introduced. The main water pipe for the camp, mysteriously, became blocked. All the boys, eagles and rattlers alike, were parched. They quickly realized that without working together, there would be no water for anyone. They had to put aside their differences, at least temporarily, and collaborate to find the blockage and fix the pipe. Some boys from the eagles might have been stronger, helping to lift heavy objects, while some rattlers might have been more agile, able to squeeze into tight spaces. Each group brought different strengths to the table, and they needed each other's contributions to succeed. Another example involved a planned outing. The bus that was supposed to take them on a fun excursion broke down. Of course, this was carefully orchestrated by the researchers. The boys were presented with a common problem. If they wanted to go on their outing, they had to work together to push the bus to get it started. Imagine the scene. Boys from both groups, initially hesitant, then slowly, begrudgingly joining forces, pushing and grunting together, their individual efforts contributing to a shared success. The small grumbles, the initial resistance, gradually gave way to shared effort and, eventually, a collective cheer when the bus finally rumbled to life. As these superordinate goals were successfully achieved, something truly remarkable began to happen. The animosity between the groups started to diminish. The negative stereotypes began to erode. When they worked together, the boys saw each other not just as rattlers or eagles, but as individuals with skills, humor, and shared humanity. The common goals forced them to communicate, to rely on each other, and to experience shared successes. The us and them began to blend into a larger we. Friendships started to form across group lines. Boys who had previously insulted each other were now sharing jokes, offering help, and even exchanging small gestures of kindness. By the end of the experiment, the level of intergroup hostility had significantly decreased, and many boys had chosen friends from the other group. The impact of the Robbers Cave experiment on modern psychology has been profound and far-reaching. It provided compelling empirical evidence for realistic conflict theory, which posits that intergroup conflict arises when groups compete for limited resources. But more importantly, it demonstrated a powerful mechanism for conflict reduction, the introduction of superordinate goals. This wasn't just an interesting observation, it was a blueprint for intervention. Before Sharif's work, many believed that prejudice was simply a result of individual personality flaws or ignorance. The Robbers Cave experiment showed that prejudice and discrimination could be easily induced by situational factors, particularly competition, and then significantly reduced through cooperative efforts towards common goals. It shifted the focus from individual pathology to social dynamics. How does this impact us as individuals today? Think about the numerous groups we are a part of or interact with in our daily lives. Family units, workplaces, schools, communities, nations. Conflicts inevitably arise. The lessons from Robbers Cave offer a powerful lens through which to understand and navigate these challenges. Consider a workplace scenario. Perhaps two departments are constantly at odds, competing for resources, recognition, or even just space. There might be grumbling, backbiting, and a lack of cooperation. The us versus them mentality takes root. Applying the principles of Robbers Cave, a wise leader wouldn't simply tell the departments to get along. Instead, they might introduce a company-wide project that requires the active collaboration of both departments, a project that can only succeed if they work together. Perhaps it's a new product launch, a complex problem that needs diverse perspectives, or a charity initiative that benefits everyone. As they work towards this shared objective, the employees begin to see each other not as rivals, but as colleagues contributing to a common cause. The shared success, the collective effort, starts to break down the walls of animosity. On a broader societal level, the experiment provides a framework for understanding and addressing ethnic, racial, or political conflicts. Simply bringing warring factions together for dialogue might not be enough if deep-seated competition for resources, power, or influence remains. True reconciliation often requires identifying and pursuing shared goals that transcend existing divisions. Climate change, global health crises, economic stability, these are all examples of superordinate goals that, if genuinely pursued, could potentially foster cooperation across national and cultural boundaries. When humanity faces a common threat, or pursues a common good that benefits all, the petty squabbles and historical grievances can sometimes fade into the background. From the teachings of this episode, we can learn several crucial lessons that can guide our own interactions and understanding of the world around us. Firstly, recognize the power of group identity. We are social creatures, and forming groups is a fundamental part of our human experience. There's a natural inclination to favor our own group, to feel a sense of belonging and pride. This isn't inherently bad, but it can quickly turn negative when coupled with competition or perceived threats from other groups. Secondly, be wary of competition. While competition can sometimes spur innovation and effort, unchecked competition, especially for limited resources, can be a breeding ground for prejudice and conflict. When you find yourself in a competitive situation, particularly one with high stakes, be mindful of the subtle ways in which it can shift your perception of others. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, actively seek out and create superordinate goals. In your personal life, in your family, in your community, identify those common objectives that require collaboration. If you see conflict brewing, ask yourself, is there a larger goal that we can all work towards that would make our individual differences less important? This might be something as simple as organizing a family event that everyone contributes to, or a neighborhood cleanup project that benefits all residents. Fourthly, understand that mere contact isn't always enough to overcome prejudice. Just being around people from different groups won't necessarily erase animosity if the underlying conditions that foster conflict remain. Intentional, cooperative interaction around shared, mutually beneficial goals is key. This means moving beyond superficial interactions to genuine collaboration where each person's contribution is valued and necessary for success. Finally, cultivate empathy and perspective-taking. The Robbers Cave experiment, while meticulously controlled, reminds us that even well-adjusted individuals can fall prey to group biases when placed in certain social structures. It encourages us to look beyond simplistic explanations for conflict and to consider the systemic and situational factors that contribute to animosity. When you see conflict, instead of immediately assigning blame, try to understand the underlying dynamics, the perceived threats, and the competing interests at play. As you drift now, letting these thoughts settle softly within your mind, consider how these insights can bring a greater sense of peace to your own world. How might you, in your own unique way, become a bridge builder, a facilitator of cooperation, a person who helps others see shared humanity rather than divisions. The journey of understanding human nature is a profound one, and it can bring with it a quiet wisdom that guides you through the complexities of life. Allow your body to gently relax, sinking deeper into the surface beneath you. Feel the gentle support, the quiet strength that holds you. Your mind, too, can release its grip on the day's concerns. Let your thoughts soften, becoming like clouds drifting across a vast, peaceful sky. Imagine yourself now in a serene, open field, bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the faint scent of distant blossoms. Above you, the sky deepens into shades of indigo and lavender, and the first few stars begin to twinkle, each a tiny beacon of peace. You are lying comfortably on a soft blanket spread across the gentle grass. Feel the earth beneath you, solid and supportive. Let your shoulders melt into the ground, releasing any tension you might be holding there. Your arms are resting gently by your sides, palms facing upwards, open to receive the quiet calm of the evening. Your legs are long and relaxed, your feet falling naturally to the sides. Feel the gentle weight of your calves and thighs pressing against the blanket, surrendering fully to gravity. Notice your breath, the gentle rhythm of it flowing in and out. There's no need to change anything, just observe. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the warm air gently leaving your body. With each exhale, imagine any lingering worries or tensions dissolving, drifting away like wisps of smoke into the vast, calming sky. Now bring your awareness to your forehead. Imagine it smoothing, releasing any furrow or crease. Let your eyelids feel heavy and soft, gently closed. Your jaw is relaxed, your teeth slightly parted, your tongue resting softly in your mouth. Feel a wave of peaceful relaxation moving slowly through your entire body, starting from the top of your head, flowing down over your face, through your neck and shoulders, down your arms to your fingertips. This wave of calm continues its journey, flowing through your chest and abdomen, softening all your internal organs. It moves down through your hips, your thighs, your calves, and finally reaches your feet and toes. Every part of you is now bathed in this gentle, soothing calm. You are completely supported, completely safe. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just rest in this tranquil space, breathing gently, allowing the wisdom of tonight's story to settle deep within you. The stars above you begin to multiply, each one a tiny spark of understanding, illuminating the path to greater peace and cooperation. You are part of this vast, interconnected universe, and just as the stars coexist in harmony, so too can we find ways to connect and collaborate, building bridges where walls once stood. Rest now in this quiet understanding. Sleep deeply, peacefully, knowing that you carry within you the capacity for connection, for empathy, and for building a more harmonious world, one breath, one gentle thought at a time. Good night. This episode of Sleepy Psychology was brought to you by the Sachs Center, a leading telehealth clinic dedicated to the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The Sachs Center is committed to providing expert, compassionate care across all 50 states, bringing specialized support directly to you, wherever you are. To explore their comprehensive services and learn how they can help, please visit SachsCenter.com. May your dreams be serene and your rest be deep. Good night.